I think we had a little bit of everything out on that field today from a weather standpoint. We had fog this morning, and then we had the wind and the rain, then it went to snow. The field dissipated. I thought the field was in good shape when we got there, but it dissipated pretty quickly. And I'm very, very proud of our football team. You know, embraced the weather, got a big win, scratched it out. I thought our defense played very, very well. Offensively, ran the ball very effectively, especially early in the game. And L.J. Scott has a big game for us, which was very important, you know, 148 yards. So get opportunity to send our seniors out. So that's the closeout, and with our eighth win here, and now we can look for number 9. So, hey, we scratch and claw for wins, and that's all I can tell you, and excited about that opportunity to play for 9 wins this next week. So I'll take some questions.
Mark, this is probably only the second game you've really been able to impose your will up front and get a running game like that. In this weather, the importance of that, can you speak to that a little bit? And also LJ, sort of what he's given you over the last 3 years, tonight seemed to be sort of a selection of his finest.
Yeah, I think that first of all, it was critical to our success. We weren't throwing the ball very effectively, obviously. You know, the weather had a lot to do with that. I looked up there where the snow was coming down. It's just difficult to even see through the snow a little bit. And then as the game progressed, it became more like we didn't have to take the risk to throw the football. We were three possession lead. So, you know, we just sort of felt like, hey, let's just grind it out. You know, let's get the 4, the 5, get the first down, and that type of effect. So I thought Coach Warner did a nice job calling the game there with that, and that was directed from me. Didn't want to take the risk of throwing the ball down the field and having a turnover or something of that nature. We weren't throwing the ball that effectively. So, but I agree with you, very critical. And LJ had a great game, and he made some good cuts and got vertical and broke some tackles.
Is this one of his
Better games?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure. You're gonna have to look back, but this was a very effective game for him, and you know, it's a good point to launch. So.
Mark, I know circumstances dictated it, but can you recall ever winning a football game with 20 yards passing?
No, I really can't. You know, so that's going to be a question someday: who threw the ball for 401 and who threw the ball for 21. So, but you know, it was tough out there. The environment was tough. You know, weather was difficult. So, and I think where it really was important in the wide receivers' cuts down the field, coming in and out of cuts. You know, Maryland did a nice job at the end of the game. You know, getting some vertical routes, but they had to throw the ball down the field. Just did not want to do that at that point in time. Thought our offense did a great job in the first quarter. The third quarter especially, you know, taking the time off the clock. Even though we didn't score, we took time off the clock in those situations.
Mark, you mentioned earlier about L.J. Scott in the running game. What about the guys in front of him, the blocking? It's been something you've been working on for a couple of weeks to see that to come to fruition when you really needed it today. How does blocking look to you?
I thought it looked very, very good. You know, we got movement and changed the line of scrimmage, and then you know, the rest of it just, you know, was the running back, I thought. But you know, once he got to the second level and things of that nature, and Gerald did as well. Gerald Holmes did as well. He got the second level at times and ran the ball effectively. Had an opportunity to go ahead 21-zip early, and I guess it would have been in the second quarter, I believe. But good hit by them. The ball comes out, so we deal with it.
Mark, seems fair to use the word astounding in considering 8 victories after 11 games this fall, given what you had inherited coming into this year. Is that a fair word?
No, I think workmanlike would be a better word, hopefully. You know, I think our guys came back with that idea that last year was not normal. There was something that, there were a lot of things that go into that, just like there's a lot of things that go into a Rose Bowl year. You know, things got to go well. And some years, other years, they don't go so well. Sometimes you get injuries, or you have situations where, you know, last year we had 3 quarterbacks, and every one of them got hurt and lost games. Our linebackers were out, things of that nature. So, and you know, it takes a toll on you, I think, in terms of emotional toll on you as well. When you win games, you win them close, that's a positive. It's an emotional positive, and you don't always feel like you're going to be able to get to it. So I thought our energy continues to be very good in practice. Our guys know what we want to do, and they do their very best to try and do it. So I'm very proud of our football team because it's a bounce back year. And usually when you have those type of years like that, there's a lot of, I don't know, there's just a good feeling about it. So coming off of last week's game as well, you know, my biggest concern was how were we going to respond? Played for so-called, you know, if we had won that game the week before, you know, we were planning to win it, represent the East today. And I didn't know how really our guys would respond. What are they going to play for? You know, what's the reason now? You know, because playing for bowl games is a little bit of an intangible. You know you're going to a bowl game, but what bowl game, you really don't know. So it's a little bit of an intangible type thing. So very proud of how we embraced everything, came out and played with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, and that sideline was live.
Mark, looking at the defense for 3 quarters or a little over that, they're playing some of their most dominant. Was it keen on the run? Was it stop and pass? What was it that you guys came in thinking that they would do with their quarterback situation?
Really weren't sure. They'd thrown the ball in previous games with Wordschlager, and he was effective. But really their 2 running backs, you know, 2 and 6 were very effective, especially last year. And that was the #1 thing. We had to make the game at least one-dimensional, which I thought we did do that. They got out a couple times, but not for very much. So thought we played well on 3rd down. Towards the end of the 4th quarter, the last 6 minutes, they got one. But you know, they got players. There are no hall passes in this league. They just are not. And you know, so Maryland came and played. I thought they played hard, as they have every snap this year.
Mark, the crowd tonight really reminded me of after the delay, the 3.5-hour delay with Penn State. Not the biggest, but man, they were loud. Would you talk about their impact?
Yeah, I thought they were the passionate fans. Those were the ones. And it was loud out there. I could not yell to our players on the field, and they couldn't hear you, and it got loud out there, and they were passionate Spartan fans, and that's another part of it. They embraced it, you know. They had a little bit of will as well to stay in the elements. So they should be congratulated, and the win is their win as well. So they got 8 as well. So, but I'm very excited about win number 8. Sets up number 9. That's what it does.
Mark, Bryan was 2 for 14. Weather may have been a factor in it, but can you kind of talk about Maryland's coverage? I mean, how good were they?
Tough to say without watching the film, but we thought their corners were very good. You know, this morning I watched all their big plays against them. And really only 2 of them were against their corners. And all year long, and last year as well, I thought their corner play was very good. They got some plays down the chute or things of that nature, or crossing routes, or, you know, backs out of the backfield for some big plays. But they really play well on the perimeter, and I thought they always do a nice job. You'd have to watch the film probably to see, you know, to give a real good idea.
Mark, over in the middle. Looking at a guy like Damien Terry, I know you tried to get him in on that final play. What has he kind of meant to your program over the years? I mean, he never really looked to transfer, he told me, so what has he kind of meant for his leadership and all that?
You know, Damien's been a warrior. You know, when you're the #2 quarterback, sometimes, you know, you don't get to take as many snaps. But, you know, you remain vigilant, you remain ready to go at all times. He's put the time in. He's had some moments here, you know, at the starting, you know, he played very well, I thought, last year versus Penn State as a starter. So he has started for us. He's played good football for us, and he's been a valuable team member here. You know, Damien is a team person. And he's done an outstanding job.
Mark over here. Can you please talk about Chris Fry and his leadership? And, you know, this was his last game, obviously playing at home along with 14 other guys. But can you talk about his leadership a little bit and maybe the emotions of seeing a guy like that play his last games? And do you get emotional on senior nights?
I get emotional on the last game usually, you know, when they play their bowl game or something like that, you know, when it is their last football game, because I'll be around them. But he's been a mainstay for us. He's been a warrior in terms of how he goes about his business, his practice, his preparation, you know, what he tries to do as a leader to the best of his abilities, and then his aggressiveness and his aggressive play and his want to on the field. And the one thing you know about Chris Fry, you're never gonna have to ask him, did you go hard enough? Because he's gonna give you everything he's got, every single play. And when he runs out of gas, you better put somebody else in for him because he is out. But he's been a great Spartan here. He's been on the front side of a lot of wins here, and very happy that this senior class is going out in this fashion.
Well, I also wanted to ask about the class. They were a little young in that playoff season, but what's your favorite memory about them? What sticks out to them as a class?
Well, I think I said that on Tuesday. To me, what sticks out about our senior class is that they're the bounce back class, really. You know, after last season, they came in this year with a lot of young players, not a very big senior class, and they had to make something out of it. So because it starts with them, it starts with their leadership. Because at the very beginning, who were our leaders? They were our seniors. And some other guys have worked their way into that, younger players, but they wanted to set things right, and they've been able to at least win 8 games. Doesn't mean we're going to win 9 or 10, but we've won 8, and we've sort of turned it back in the right direction. They've done that.
Hey, Mark.
One last one, Matt.
No Hunter, no Josiah, no Luffy today. Any three of those guys you expect to be out for the season?
Mufi's out for the season. We lost him with an ACL, MCL. So the other two maybe could have played a little bit, but Josiah we held, kept him out of uniform. Both of them will be back next week.
All right. Thanks, Coach.